So when is the best time to sell your house if you live in Southern California? Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jeb Smith, Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage, and that's the topic we're talking about today, the best time to list your house for sale if you're looking to maximize profit, if you're looking for top dollar. Now, as you know, the real estate market changes. You know, new laws being passed every year. You know, markets have ups, have downs, what have you. But the one thing that remains a constant for the most part, and it's a trend, it's historical, it happens almost every year, is the best time to list your property for sale, whether you're in an up market or a down market. And that time of the year is the spring. Now, it's, you know, a lot of you have probably heard the spring selling season, and I did a video, which I'll link to below, where I talk about the spring selling season, but this is going to be a little recap of that as well. And what we're talking about here, what I'm using for sake of argument, if you will, with regards to the spring is, you know, that time between the Super Bowl and the beginning of summer. So let's say mid-June, when kids get out of school, right? That is what I'm saying is our spring market, right before you get into the mix of summer. Now, summer gets a lot of the credit for what happens in the spring. You know, you always hear, hey, summer's the best time to sell your house. And that's because a lot of what happens in the spring rolls over into the summer. You know, those houses that go into escrow in April, May, and June, they close in, you know, June, July, August, or May, June, July, what have you. And so it rolls over to the summer. So a lot of what happened in the spring rolls over into summer. So summer gets a lot of credit for what already took place for those properties that already went into escrow. And today we're going to talk about why. Why is spring the best time to list your house? So, you know, my opinion is, you know, historically speaking, every year, not every year, but almost every year, you know, the holiday market is a time when inventory tightens up. Buyer demand almost comes to a steal as we move through Thanksgiving and Christmas. And right after the first of the year, it starts to trickle back on. And then as more properties start to come to the market, buyer demand starts to pick up. You gain that momentum, and that momentum carries you into summer. And then summer happens and kids are out of school, parents are going on vacations, there's a lot going on with kids being home, and so there's not really that time to look for property. And then you roll into the fall market, which is when the kids go back to school. And now that the kids are back to school, you've got Halloween coming up, you've got the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas coming up. So again, it's a slower time in the market. So the spring is really when there's not a lot going on with regards to, you know, family activities and vacations and what have you. So there's, you know, the weather's starting to warm up. People are starting to think about, hey, trying to move and get into school districts before the next school year starts and what have you. And so that is one of the reasons that the market starts to heat up, at least in Southern California during that time. Now, let's say over the last 7-8 years, we've also had a shortage of inventory. So we've had that you know, not a lot of available homes for sale. Buyer demand has still been pretty high, at least the last couple of years been really, really high, and we've had low interest rates. So all of that coupled together has really created this frenzy when it comes to spring. And so, you know, if you're looking to maximize price, you really want to be on the market probably no later than mid-March. Now, that's not to say that you can't sell your house in April or May or June or what have you, because you can. But what I will tell you is during that time you have more competition, right? So if you're in a market like Huntington Beach, for example, and you look at the market now and there's not a lot of available properties for sale in your neighborhood, now would be a really good time to come to market, right? Because you don't have a lot of competition, and there's still a huge amount of buyer demand out there, right? So there's still a lot of buyers looking for the perfect property, but there's not a lot of property to choose from. So the earlier you come on the market right now and beat that competition in the market, you know, and price right, the better chance you have of actually achieving that price. Now, you know, if you achieve your price, then chances are the next guy is going to list a little bit higher than you, and then a little bit higher, and so on and so forth. So that's not to say that the next guy can't get a little bit more money, because they may. But what I'm saying is that right now, you know, because you don't have competition, you're leading the path, so to speak. And say you wait a month or 2 months, then at that point, there might be 2 or 3 of you that come on the market at the same time, and you might not be able to achieve that price that you were able to achieve before, because Now you've got other properties that you're competing against. Now this is, clearly dependent on what type of property you have, how upgraded it is, so on and so forth. So if you have somewhat of a unique property, it's really upgraded, then maybe you have an opportunity to get that price even later into the spring, early summer, excuse me. But right now is a really good time in the spring. And this year, especially because as we move into summer, I expect a slowdown. I expect I expect the market to slow down as we move into late summer, early fall, because it is an election year. A lot of people are wondering what's going to happen. And with that being said, I think the market, a lot of people don't want to buy during that time because they're unsure of what's going to happen once a new president comes into, or if a new president comes in, rather, into office. Is the market going to crash? Are things going to change and what have you? So, in order to maximize price, at least in 2020, the spring is going to be the time to do it. Again, you want to be on the market mid-March, end of March, ideally. But again, if you're considering this, if this is something you're thinking about, start having those conversations now. Start interviewing agents now to get their take, to see what they have to say about the market, and deal with a professional, because they're going to be able to give you an opinion. Hey, look, talk about your neighborhood and exactly what's going on, and then they can help guide you to when the best time to come on the market. So I hope that's helpful. But in a market where there's tight inventory, high buyer demand, there's not really a bad time, but the most ideal time is to come on when you have high buyer demand and not a lot of competition, which is right now in the spring. And I expect that to heat up. I expect more properties to come to the market. And we don't know what's going to happen from there, but the spring is the ideal time to list your home if you want to maximize price. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you haven't done so already, do me a favor, if you like watching these videos, hit the subscribe button here in the corner. It helps me get out to more people, helps me see what people are watching. And as always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.